Welcome to another edition of Making a Difference in Daytona Beach. This afternoon, I'm with Dr. Victoria Fahlberg, the Executive Director here at the First Step Shelter. And we will discuss some of the exciting things that are transpiring here at the shelter. Dr. Fahlberg, do you mind sharing with us the purpose and just a little bit about the shelter from your perspective?
Sure. The mission of the First Step Shelter is to help the homeless single individuals who live in Volusia County to stabilize their lives and eventually move into housing.
Okay. To that end, what type of services do you offer? Because I know that they don't come prepared and ready to navigate and graduate into.
No. So the first thing we do, even during intake, the very first thing is when we bring people in, they get a shower, they get clean clothes, and we do a medical screening. Because a lot of people who live on the street for any period of time, they're often medically fragile. Many of them have had a lot of drug and alcohol abuse that's taken a big toll on them physically. And a lot of them need mental health services. So that's like the first thing we do. And then as they become a resident here at the shelter, we began to address the needs of their medical needs. And that includes medication, for example. Part of the compliance of our program here is people have to agree to be medically compliant. So whether that means being sure that they eat appropriately because they're diabetic, taking their insulin, or whether it's their mental health medication, it's all part of our program here. So if they need doctors, we set them up with appointments. If they need a therapist, we have NA and AA that come in. And so that's the way that we begin to help address those kinds of needs. It's not unusual that they might have a Social Security number, but they don't have any basic forms of ID. So that's something else that we have to find a way to get them, everybody has to have two forms of IDs. After we do the identification, then we go on and we move into helping them with benefits. So all of them pretty much can get food stamps because of their low income or no income. So we get them those benefits. If it's people who can't work, we'll help them get disability. We try to help people get some form of health insurance, which usually would be Medicaid. And then after going through that, then we move on and we help them with income with employment. And so we help them with their resumes. We help them look for jobs. We help them we do job interviews with them, mock job interviews with them. We help match them to what their skill level is. And so we do a lot of things like that. We provide transportation for them for all of their, meeting all of their needs wherever it is they need to go, whether it's to the job site or to a job interview or to a doctor or, pretty much to wherever it is. And then, once they have had income for a while, then we help them with housing. And so we get them into low-income housing. And then we also have a program that we've received through the county. It's through the CARES Act. It's called a rapid rehousing program. And so for the people who qualify for that program, and there's a number of eligibility criteria, but those people can actually get first and last month's rent and their security deposit paid through the program. And so that's really helpful for a lot of people because otherwise they have to save up that money and then it just takes a longer time. So we also help provide some legal services for people who are here. We've helped people with immigration. So, you name it, we've tried to do whatever we can to actually get people on their feet and into a good place to live.
We've been open since December of 2019.
Yes.
Tell us a little bit about the number of people that have received assistance in the facility.
Right, so since 2019, up until the end of March, we've had 219 people come through the shelter. And so although all those people haven't graduated from the program, every one of those persons have been assisted in the program. One of the things we have here is really great kitchen. And so people put on weight here. People are able to rest here. They're able to sleep here. They're able to have good hygiene here. And so, so of those people, of the 219 who've come through the program here, 77 of them have gone into housing so far. So those are the number of people who have graduated from the program. We currently have about 45 people in here right now. We've had about that number since January. It's been pretty steady at around 45.
And you say right now, I know we've had to deal with COVID as the rest of America and the world has. What adjustments have you had to make as the executive director here at the shelter to confront the COVID?
Now what we do for intake is that at New Smyrna Beach, there's a free rapid test that you can get through the county. So we ask people to go there on the same day that they come here for an intake. And so when we do intakes now, they have to come with a proof that they've had their rapid test and that they're, COVID-free at the time of intake. So that's what we do with intakes. And then for people in here, they wear a mask. We do the social distancing. We encourage the hand washing. If somebody comes down with any kind of symptoms, we'll isolate them in the health unit until we feel sure that they're okay. We always do temperature checks. All the kinds of things I think most people do.
Well, let me ask you this. What are some of your goals and objectives for this year?
My goal is to make sure that everything that we're actually doing matches everything in our procedure book. So that's a big goal of mine, is just to do that. I'm learning a lot more about our needs for personnel, right? And so I want to make some modifications to our employee handbook. The only other goal I'll mention is that in the past year, we brought in around $100,000 from individual, basically small donations. And that's really good. But as you know, our budget is over $1 million. So my goal is for the individual donations to increase that about 3 times. And the other thing is we get basically almost no donations from the business community. And I'm concerned about that because I know that the shelter, one of the groups that most wanted the shelter built was the business community. So when the pandemic hit, it really shut down my ability to get to know more people in the business community. But my hope is that in the next year, I'm going to try to reach out and meet a lot more of the business owners and really help them become aware of what we're doing. And one of the things I know is that people notice that there are fewer homeless people in Daytona Beach. And and I really want them to understand the role that we're playing in that, and that the expectations that they had for what we could be, that we're actually meeting. And hopefully they'll want to help out a little bit.
Victoria, that is certainly my goal in the coming year for the shelter.
Yeah.
And I want to be there to help you to
good.
reach out to those businesses because they were among the strongest supporters of the idea of a shelter, just as you said. So to that end, if you're a business owner in Daytona Beach or Volusia County, this is a place that is worthy of your time, it's worthy of your donations. How can not only businesses, but residents and citizens, ordinary citizens, best support you in the shelter at this time?
So we have 2 big needs. One is just financial, where people can make donations pretty easily via our website. The other is we have a lot of need for volunteers in the kitchen. It's been really hard. I'm sure that many people like myself have read, all the news articles and heard on the news about there's really a shortage of people in the area to do a lot of work, in kitchens. And so we compete with the restaurants and the Buc-ee's and, all of these new places for staff. And so we are really we don't have enough staff. And so we're really trying to reach out for more volunteers. And so we need people in the kitchen to really help out with that. If anybody does things like yoga or things like that would be great activities for residents, we would love to have that help. And we can always use the financial help.
Okay. Well, there you have it. Dr. Victoria Fahlberg, Executive Director of the First Step Shelter. Truly making a difference in the lives of our residents. And just as First Step is making a difference, you too can make a difference in Daytona Beach. Thank you, Dr. Fahlberg.
It's my pleasure.